Hey guys, happy Thursday, and in an effort, of course, to try and bring you as much knowledge as humanly possible across the world of sports, we got a very special guest joining us via the Miami Acura hotline today. It is David Eversole. He is the executive director of a place you guys have to be tailing on Twitter. If you want to know what's going on with Miami sports, and you want to follow the teams, whether it be the Hurricanes, the Heat, well, nobody follows the Marlins, but the Dolphins, anything along those lines, this is the place that you want to go on Twitter. It's at Miami Sports Wave. David joins us. And David, thank you for taking some time to hang out with us, my friend.
Absolutely, Joe. Thanks so much for having me on.
So give the viewers, give the listeners just a brief background of Miami Sports Wave, how it started, what you guys do, all of that good stuff.
Sure. Miami Sports Wave started in 2017 as a project of mine. I'm a professional medical billing company owner and a freelance writer in my spare time. So I started the Miami Sports Wave as sort of a passionate hobby, but then it started to gain traction and people started to really give us good positive feedback. So I decided to expand the operation, started bringing on writers, covering all the teams. And we're really building something solid here. We have a great new, fresh approach to how we present sports and how we cover the teams. And we're just trying to do something different, a little bit fresher perspective than perhaps some people might be used to in traditional sports media.
And you never, David, seem to have a lack of content here in South Florida. I mean, those that live in the 305, the 954, and the 561, you guys understand what just a dumpster fire most of these teams are. And we never seem to be talking about what's actually going on the court or on the field. We're always talking about all the crap that happens off of it. So you guys you got a lot going on over there right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of extracurricular things, like you said, outside the lines. And depending on, the day of the week, you could have breaking news, whether it's coaching searches or, game breaks, updates, things like that. And we try to stay on top of everything. Obviously, with Adam Gase going to our hated division rival, the New York Jets, we've got a lot of interesting storylines. And we're trying to bring some different angles to those stories and give you a unique perspective. We're recruiting a lot of talented artists to really give our site a different visual appeal.
Yes.
And there's so much going on between the Hurricanes, offensive coordinator search, and obviously with Manny coming back. It's a very interesting time in Miami sports. And we've got the Heat. You never know what you're going to get night in and night out with them, but they're exciting to watch. And Dwayne Wade's last season, and of course Udonis Haslem, Captain 305, both retiring. It's their farewell tour. We definitely have a lot to cover and a lot to bring to the fans in the area.
David Eversole, Executive Director, Miami Sports Wave. Make sure you guys are tailing him on Twitter at Miami Sports Wave, MiamiSportsWave.com. Everything that is South Florida sports can be found at this website and, of course, on Twitter. And we're looking at the logo right now. I've got it up on the screen, and that is some pretty cool stuff, man. I mean, you got the dolphin, you got the helmet, you got the turnover train, you got the chain, you got the U, you got I mean, this is a pretty cool, whoever the artist was on this, hats off, man. That's a pretty cool logo you got rolling right now.
Yeah, I got to give a shout-out to Jason Rosero at Think Expansion, our social media team. They do an incredible job with all of our social media, so I have to give those guys some love for sure. Like I said, we're just trying to bring something a little bit different, something to catch your eye. And stay tuned because we're going to be bringing out some merchandise in the next couple months and doing a lot of things in the community. If I could plug an event real quick.
Sure.
This weekend at the University of Miami Hall of Fame, artist Bo Bradbury is going to be painting Hurricanes legends like Brett Romberg, Ed Reed, all those guys. He's going to be doing that at the Hall of Fame this weekend. We're going to be covering that event on Saturday. So make sure to check it out if you're a Hurricanes fan or just a Miami sports fan, art lover. Bo does incredible work. So, please make sure to check that out if you have a chance.
Awesome stuff. David Eversole, it's at Miami Sports Wave, Executive Director, one of the cool new up-and-coming places that you guys can go to get all the latest up-to-date information on the South Florida teams. And, I mean, a lot is going on right now. Today, the Jets take Adam Gase, and as a lifelong Jet fan, devastation is not a strong enough word yesterday when this news broke. And, of course, to make it even worse, because I've covered him here in Miami, I understand exactly the dumpster fire that he created with that team in that locker room. And I'm wondering, David, if you can just, because I'm a Jet fan, people think I'm jilted here a little bit, but as somebody who covers the Miami Dolphins, somebody who's written about Gase and what has happened here over the end of the season and his departure, how would you describe what the New York Jet fans are about to get?
Well, first of all, Joe, it really breaks my heart, what you're going through as a Jets fan. I mean, it really took, pulls at my heartstrings. Well, basically the word about Adam Gase was coming in. He was the quote-unquote quarterback whisperer. But if you really take a deep look at it, I mean, he was whispering to Peyton Manning. The guy's a coach on the field. I mean, what Gase's impact, I mean, you can't really quantify because we weren't there. But he came in as a quarterback savant and took Ryan Tannehill, to his peak in 2016 is what you saw. That was peak Ryan Tannehill. And just you never really saw his vision develop. And part of that has to fall, of course, on the personnel side with another Jets cast-off, Mike Tannenbaum, being out of the personnel mix. He did inherit some of those bloated salaries, deficient offensive line. But the fact is he didn't get the job done as the CEO of a team. He didn't balance the egos in that locker room. And it seemed like the players kind of checked out in the last 2 weeks. Despite nothing to pay for, they're still professionals. It just seems like his message wasn't well received by the team. And Ross had to clean house. It just had to be done. And the promotion to Chris Greer to EVP was a real good move, and I'm hoping they get this coaching search right.
Well, I mean, speaking of another coaching search, it's been kind of crazy here. University of Miami over the last month, too, has gone through just a whole roller coaster of emotions. Mark Richt makes first he get blown out in a bowl game by Wisconsin again in New York, and then Mark Richt steps down. Nobody really saw that coming, and that comes off the heels of the guy who was supposed to be the heir apparent ends up taking a job at Temple and Manny Diaz. And then, for 24 hours, it's a guessing game who's coming in, who's not. And then all of a sudden, we're right back to where we started from. Manny Diaz, now the head coach, University of Miami. I would say, for those that are outside of the scope here, Manny Diaz was the right hire, was always the guy that should have been taking over this team once Mark Richt retired, whenever that would have been. Is that fair to say, David?
Yeah, I definitely agree with it. And also, I think Temple deserved it for giving us Al Golden. So, a little bit of karma back their way. And on top of it, we took their strength and conditioning coach, David Feely, which is another solid hire for the U. But, yeah, I definitely think bringing back Diaz was the right move. There was a certain, if you will, the defense carried the team. And that was it. It was really Manny leading the show as far as getting the team to where it eventually ended up. And the offense was obviously holding the team back. So elevating Diaz to that position definitely seemed like a natural, smart move. He's tuned into the local recruiting. He knows what he's doing. It's going to be a pretty seamless transition. Obviously, the offensive coordinator search has become interesting. Is it Major Applewhite? Is it not Major Applewhite? Is it Major Applewhite again? And now you're hearing rumblings of T. Martin from Tennessee, the OC there. Now he's entering into the mix. So once he gets that figured out, and also Jalen Hurts, there's a little bit of rumbling about him possibly transferring from Alabama. There's a little bit of buzz from him coming down to play at the University of Miami. He could transfer without losing a year of play time. So there's a lot of storylines here in the offseason, and we've really got to rebuild the recruiting class. Our 2019 recruiting class is ranked very low, somewhere around in the 40s by sites like Rivals. The 2020 class is supposed to be very good, but, we've got a lot of work to do on the recruiting trail still. And I think getting Diaz in place now was the right thing to do so we can just hit the ground running with the recruiting.
Yep, and you guys do yourself a favor. If you want to know what's going on in the world of Miami sports, make sure you guys are following at Miami Sports Wave on Twitter. Check out the website. All great articles there. Really, the writers you guys are building and what you've got going on there, David. is a great perspective for somebody on the outside who may not follow these teams, but you want to know what's happening. All the information that you guys could possibly need under one line there, and it's at Miami Sports Wave on Twitter, miamisportswave.com. He is David Eversole, Executive Director. David, we appreciate your time. We look forward to talking to you again throughout the rest of the NBA season as we get ready for Marlins baseball. Heaven forbid, help us all. And then, of course, it won't be too long before we start talking Dolphins and college football again. So appreciate your time, my friend. Enjoy the weekend. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks so much for having me, Joe.